All right, everyone, welcome to a new edition of Mic Drop Mondays. We are recording this on February the 5th, 2026. We have a special guest here today. His name is JH, and I will have him to do his customary and famous intro so you'll know who he is. Go ahead, brother.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? How you feeling? Irie? Let's talk.
See, I told you it was him. I told you it was him, man. This guy has a huge following on YouTube. Just today, almost every day, every post office I go to, they'll say, "Hey, that's you, the guy I saw on JH show." I'm
Mm,
like, when did this become my claim to fame? But it's you got quite the following you've built up out there
not all good.
on YouTube, man. No, it's hey, I'm sure you have your detractors and all of that, but how long you been doing the show?
I started in 2018.
2018. Wow.
2018. Yeah.
Did it kind of grow slowly, or how did that?
I,
Because probably back then there probably wasn't a lot of
it
postal
wasn't,
people doing shows.
there was none. It was meant specifically just to help a couple of my friends get into the post office.
Hmm.
That was the purpose.
Oh wow.
Behind the scenes, and I was trying to help them with their assessments, and I was like, look, man, I can't help you with the video. Go check out a YouTube. I'll share a private link. And then the link went and blew up, and then it was one question after another and after another, and then that's how it started.
Oh wow. That is awesome. And now
Yeah.
you got like what, 30,000 followers to the
uh,
channel?
Almost 50.
Almost
Almost
50.
50. Yeah,
Wow.
50,000.
Yeah, correct yourself, Mike. Correct yourself.
I think
But
it
it took a long time. I've never asked one person to subscribe.
right.
That's just it. If they like it, they'll watch. If they don't, it is what it is. I don't beg for views.
Yeah. But you put out a lot of content and you talk about things that are of interest to postal employees. You talk about a lot of letter carrier stuff, man. And you're not a letter carrier, so let's get that
No,
out the way.
no, definitely not. My daughter is a letter carrier. My son is a letter carrier. My sister is a letter carrier. My nephew's a letter carrier. So my Christmas looks
Your
like
mailman's a letter carrier.
my mailman's a letter carrier. Yeah, yeah. So that was it. She would ask me some questions, and then I'm like, well, I don't know the answer to that. So I'm gonna go. I'm a truck driver, so I said I'll ask a couple of the guys that are over at one of the stations that I pick up, and I would get answers for her there. And that's kind of how it started, I guess. I guess.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So Renee has a lot of questions for you. That's a
All
lot.
right.
And I know you guys talked ahead of time, kind of pre-gaming. So
No, I
I
mean,
want her to ask her questions
I'm
because I'm
I'm here
curious to
for
hear
it.
what those questions are as well.
Here for it.
Wait, hold on. Pause. Pause on this. When did I say I told you I was gonna be at a volleyball practice and I
Mm.
asked for you to take over, sir? That is the
Hey
conversation we
Jay, do
had
you hear
earlier
any
today.
volleyballs? Do you hear any spiking going on?
I don't hear,
No, I am. I'm
mm.
in the
And
car
any
at
sets, any
volleyball
serves,
practice. I
any
did not know how my audio was gonna be. So I am
Mm.
at volleyball practice. But we did talk on the phone, and when we talked, one of the things that we talked about was the geo tracking on the vehicles.
Ooh.
And like, you told me some about like, the things that you've experienced with the geo tracking. So I wanted you like to just talk more about that so carriers could, just I guess more education on it in the vehicles.
So that was something that popped up. I did a video probably about 5 years ago about geo trackers. As truck drivers, we've always had that geo tracker. It was probably a different name back in the day, but they always tracked everything with us. They tracked our location. Um, that's how they follow your mail. Every one of the trailers that moves mail around the country, they have tracking devices on them up to 100 feet. so you know where the mail is at all times. Nonetheless,
And
they
and just
recently,
not to cut you off, but you're a tractor trailer operator.
yes, well, I'm in safety now, but yeah, tractor trailer. I've been 28 years of driving trucks.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Um,
Go ahead.
no, it's cool. I know that in the tractors that we have, if and this is also because I'm in safety and we work right next to VMF, vehicle maintenance facility, we know, and I warned everybody beforehand. I said, hey, they're tracking your vehicles, and people thought I was crazy. I said they're putting trackers in them. And they're called geo trackers. They have their little boxes, probably about the size, half the size of your phone, if that. And if the vehicle, such as a ProMaster, a Metris, or a 2-ton, they're able to detect whether or not you have a seatbelt on, whether or not you pull the seatbelt behind you because of the way that the seatbelt sensor is itself. So if
Really?
it's sitting behind, yes, they can tell if they're sitting on it. So a lot of people will do that in the mattresses, and they can detect that as well. I know that something having to do with the unions, they say that they can't use this information against you, but they can track your speed. They can track how far you back up. They can track hard braking. They can track hard left turn, hard right turn, hard acceleration, idle time, everything they can detect from beginning to end. And they know your location. I believe they started putting those in the LOVs because a lot of the I'm hearing the stories about carriers from back in the days. I am not saying this happens today, but a lot of carriers would go together and they help each other out, something that they don't have now, camaraderie, and they get their routes done. They go meet at the IHOP and go get something to eat together, but then the newer generation, I guess, the newer generation of carriers, I'm not going to say the newer generation, they'd disappear and go get their nails done and hair done in the middle of the day. So yeah, they started getting caught up with that. But yeah, they have a lot of.
We used to do a lot more, man.
I know I'm not at liberty
I
to.
started in 1994, man. It was it was a lot
Truck
more
drivers
fun back
did the
then.
same thing. Yeah, they did the same thing. But yeah, the geo trackers are pretty detailed. So I guess that in conjunction with your scanners, they're trying to pinpoint locations for everything. Now they can misconstrue the words and say, hey, this is just to create visibility. That's what we call it in transportation, surface visibility, SV. They call them SV scanners, so that we can use this data to help improve. That's what they were supposed to be doing, collecting data to help improve the operation. They've turned it into a weapon, in my opinion. Actually, yeah, they did. They turned it into a weapon. They'll get a carrier for, what is it, excessive backing.
Yeah.
I believe Raylo mentioned something about they saw a carrier or something about the text messages when they had an accident. That's another thing. So
that was the question I was going to bring up because Renee was talking about if you charging your phone, and obviously this wouldn't be an LLV. You can't do shit with the LLV, but
it is in the ProMaster. No, the new ProMasters, yes. The new NGDVs, yes. And of course, the new the mattresses. So the mattress is a Mercedes. So just like your car, a lot of people will connect the Bluetooth to it, which is, I've always told people when I'm training, don't plug up. So the car has I think they call it infotainment, where you can play your music through it. And they use
that's in the next generation vehicle.
No, that's in the Mercedes Metris.
Oh, in the Metris. I'm sorry.
Correct. So they use it has GPS, but you know how you can do your text messages through it and
yeah, like Apple CarPlay or whatever.
Correct. It also knows when you're texting. You know what I mean? So it saves all that data. It's a computer, is what it is. And apparently, when a person got into the accident, they combined all of those things together. The person's dialing out, the speed at the time the person was dialing out, whether or not they were talking to text. Everything is collected in data. Now, USPS cannot pull that data. An inspector Can though.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because the mattresses, the Mercedes, hold the information. I think it's up to like 90 days. So like if you ever get a rental car, which I'm sure you have, and you get in the car behind somebody else, it says, Janet's iPhone was connected in here, right? Somebody else's iPhone. Now, regular person like yourself and myself cannot pull any of the data from that. But if there's an accident involved in it and, there's a fatality or somebody injured seriously and they really want to collect the data, they can dig in there and pull that data out.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's good to know, I guess. Wow.
And the data will stick around until they do a full reset. Yeah, it stores cookies, I guess, cache. That's what it is, cache. And they can use it in lawsuits against people, etc.
Yeah, I mean, because you have a lot of situations like, let's say there's a vehicle accident and the Postal Service insures their own vehicles, right? They don't have a private insurance company, and there could be a dispute or whatever, and you're having an argument about liabilities, about whose fault it was or whatever. Yeah, not just them, the other side, right? You get into an accident with another car, they're gonna want to access that information.
Yeah,
And
they can pull everything from hard brakes, hard turns,
or whatever.
Correct. The law enforcement, they have tools. They call it Burla. It's kind of like an automotive forensic thing that they can pull. They have specific people that can pull that. I work 2 doors down from an inspector, and I had to knock on his door. Somebody was stealing from a box once. He opened up his door, and the whole office is full of black cases. Each one of those cases has computers in them. It was just like that was his office. I was like, God. So they monitor everything. Now, they weren't monitoring the carriers. They just monitor what's going on. Inspectors kind of deal with the stuff coming from the outside in, and the OIG. They work in conjunction with the OIG, which investigate internal things. So they'd have to really dig deep for that. But yeah, that data stuff is serious, man. No, I don't know how you guys can. I don't think they can weaponize it against you. They try though.
Well, it's information. What normally you have digital information, for lack of a better word, and if they ask you about it and the carrier says, I don't think that's what happened, I don't think that digital information is enough to definitively determine what happened, because there's mistakes. They're not mistakes, but there's a plus or minus. There's a room for error, right?
Correct.
Like your GPS location, your coordinates. It might be precise, it might not be precise. So we look at any electronic surveillance as the supervisor needs to observe that for themselves. And the post office has been sending a lot of people out on the streets to like observe the carriers, to see if they're wearing seatbelts, to see if they got an earbud in their ear. There's places. What do you think about this? And there's a lot of places that are starting to crack down on. They've always said, 2 earbuds is a no-no, but even 1 earbud, they're cracking down and saying that it's against policy, it's not safe. What do you think about that?
Well, I do the defensive driving classes and safety. So I tell them immediately, I say, listen, as tractor trailer operator myself, if you ever see you can tell a truck driver from a mile away because they have a earpiece that only has 1 piece on it. It's a boom mic.
Oh, yeah.
It's
right.
against the law to have 2 pieces in. So here's the thing. If you have an earbud in your right ear now, and you got your fan on in the left blowing at you, you know what I mean? You can't hear the engine and all that other foolishness. You also can't hear if you've hit a child. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be listening as you're driving down the street for your surroundings. So we utilize that, and we tell them, I suggest no earbuds, but if they took a Bluetooth speaker and put it inside the vehicle, it is what it is. That's the same that, if you have the Mercedes Metris, they have a radio inside of it. But earbud, if you put the earbud in the left ear and you got the fan blowing, you're not gonna be able to hear anyway. So, you don't want to set it up where management can feel like they can call you anyway. That's my opinion. You know, I tell them, I said, if they
But
see
the carriers out on the street. I mean, I'm not talking about driving a vehicle, because
Mhm.
I think we'd all pretty much agree that driving a vehicle, you shouldn't have nothing in your ears. And like you said, you can play the radio, you can play a speaker, whatever. But when you're out there on the street, so many carriers will have, one earbud in,
They
and
should, yeah, I think.
we feel like we can still, work safely with one earbud in, but not everyone has that opinion.
I don't personally see a problem with that. Me personally, I don't see that.
Yeah. I
Having
think
two
it's I
earbuds,
think it's just an excuse to mess with somebody. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I don't see an issue with that. You want to be pay attention to your surroundings. You up in Chicago, I mean, you always want to have your head on a swivel there anyway. You don't want somebody walking up. And,
Yeah.
I want to know if I'm gonna die. you know, um,
Oh no.
but yeah, I think I don't see an issue with that. I mean, it's bad enough y'all got to deal with all the other foolishness, and if a podcast or some music can take you away from the foolishness y'all got to deal with for a few minutes, I don't see the issue. I don't see the safety issue behind it, because it all narrows back down to safety. Is it safe to have one earbud in? I don't see a problem with it. Two,
Now,
yeah, there's an issue.
now some of our people, they're out there listening to and watching your show while they're delivering mail, and they put their phone like inside the satchel.
Mhm.
I don't think that's wise. Listening is one thing, but watching and engaging
Yeah,
in a video and
no.
all that,
Yeah.
that's probably
Yeah,
too
your
much.
head, and that we have that issue at the plant as well. So during the downtime, a lot of the mail handlers or the clerks, they'll put their phone on the tow motor, or they'll sit them on the desk while they're unloading trucks, and then they start just watching the whole movie. Obviously, the whole concept of the Postal Service or any business is productivity. They're gonna look at you and say, "Hey,
Right. You're
you have time to
distracted.
watch." Yeah, you're distracted. You're watching a movie while you're supposed to be working. There's nothing to look at with me. I'm just sitting in front of a screen. That's it. I'm just talking my shit.
You can
But
just listen to it.
sorry. Yeah, you just listen to it. I say enough to try to break it down as clear as
But
possible.
don't you got to have YouTube Premium, because otherwise, when you turn off your phone and you put it someplace,
Yeah.
it goes off.
I minimize the screen. I don't have premium, and I'll just minimize the screen and just put it in my pocket or behind me. Like,
Well, how do you, if your phone is on and you minimize it, you put it in your pocket, it's gonna like jump around. It's gonna like
I have
you-
a
you
huge
might-
phone, man. This
you might be
phone
calling somebody or
Holy cow.
is-
That
I
thing
don't
look big.
know. What'd you say?
I know they.
Fucking phone is huge. Look at the size of that thing.
That's large.
Yeah, it's a double phone. The Z Fold, it's disappearing, but yeah, it's a freaking big phone.
So if you fold that thing, does it go off?
You can keep it. There's a setting that you can turn so you keep it on. But
Okay.
me,
Yeah.
I'm out there training them, so I put it inside the truck, and I like to focus on what I got going on. I got plenty of time to listen.
All right. So I got a question to a driver safety instructor.
Mhm.
How do we get our fellow employees, letter carriers, tractor trailer operators, whatever, whoever's driving a vehicle, to wear their damn seatbelt?
Ooh.
How it's such it's so disturbing to me. Like you'll go in the post office and you'll see that they sit on the seatbelt. They click it in, as if they're doing something, and then they just sit on it, or they don't just wear it at all. And one thing is, if you're going, like we do mounted deliveries where you're going at a low rate of speed or whatever, not a big deal. But I mean, when you're like driving, down busy streets and stuff, that's just crazy to me. It's 2026, but it
Yeah.
seems to be getting worse.
It is. It's definitely getting worse. And the thing is, I live right by the plant, and there's a station probably about 2 blocks away from me, and they all know me. So they have the worst accident record in the history. So I'm driving home, and they'll come whipping out of the parking lot, out of the mall parking lot, door open, no seatbelt on, and I'm driving home, and then they look down, and I'm looking up, and like, oh shit, what are you doing here? I'm like, come on, man, For our classes, we show them a lot of videos of carriers falling out the falling out
Yeah.
the vehicle. A
Does
lot
that-
of them.
does that
And we
work?
send it home. Initially, Initially, they worry about it because there's one video where a guy just happened to he didn't have a seatbelt on. He went to reach to put the mail in the mailbox. He had to open up his door, and he fell out while the vehicle was still in motion, and the vehicle rolled over his leg, and you could hear it in the video from the doorbell cam, and it went pop. You just heard it snap. You got a work email, I can send it to you. And you just hear him screaming for his, can you please? He's screaming like a girl. And you got to think it's a LLV or FFV was just on top of him. Now with the seatbelt thing, if management playing with your time, this is my opinion. If they play with your time, from what I was told before by all these carriers in my little chat group, is that when you come up to a mailbox, you're supposed to have this is what they said. You're supposed to actually shift it in park, and then deliver your thing. So if they followed every step safely, it would actually add time, and you wouldn't lose time, and you wouldn't have these people.
You wouldn't get your route added to. We wouldn't be losing so many full-time assignments. We get paid by the click. And that's the amazing thing. People leave the vehicle running sometimes. They do all these things because I guess they're in a hurry or what. But why? We get paid by the click. We're not. There's no rush here. There's no rush whatsoever. But people feel rushed, and I know you're getting pressure from management, but at the same time, you have the right to work safely, and the seatbelt is obviously the law. And if anything happens, they're not going to say, "Oh yeah, we told them they don't have to wear a seatbelt because it helps them to go faster." They're not going to say that.
They'll never say that. And the whole thing with cutting through people's lawns. But the thing with the seatbelts, like I said, it's just one of those things where whoever the future leader is, the way you're traveling around the country, you speak to your locals and say, hey, look, local president, Jim, you got to put something out to let them know. If you follow every single step and you do this continuously for a full year, the chance of you having anything added to your route is going to be slim to none. They're all because they do that micromanaging where they take the data. Oh, well, this person could do this. They whip through it. Yeah. I love Mailman Nick, but my man be whipping through some stuff. He finally started to slow down.
He's a hard worker.
You can't do that, man, because a normal average person is going to have some issues when they try to follow behind you. And you're setting unrealistic expectations. And the more you take shortcuts, they're not going to tell you, hey, you're doing it wrong. As long as the mail gets out, they say, oh, this person got it done in, 6 hours and, 6.25 hours. What took you 8 hours? Well, it took me 8 hours because I get paid for an 8-hour day. You'll never have those issues
because I'm doing the job right.
Right. That's when you say, hey, escort me, follow me. What do they do? Observations?
Yeah, $39.99. Yeah.
And in the moment that you start putting your vehicle in park and reaching out to put your mail in every box, they're going, what are you doing that for? Because that's what we're supposed to do. And you stick by your guns. The problem that a lot of the carriers have is that y'all are divided amongst yourselves.
Think so, huh?
Oh, definitely. I read the comments all the time.
Yeah.
They divided amongst themselves, man. If they all came together and like with this last fake pay raise y'all got contract, a lot of them came together. If they stood like that all the time, y'all be unstoppable.
Yeah.
That
was a good thing that came out of that. There was a carrier out of a station that was actually EP'd for doing exactly that. Like at each mailbox, like he stopped, and he put the vehicle in park, and he reached out to put in the mailbox, and the supervisor was behind him, following him, told him that what he was doing was improper, and told him if he didn't stop, he had to get off the clock. So EP'd him for that.
Wow. Well, he should easily have his time brought back because he's following standard operating procedure that was set forth by the Postal Service. Safe.
The ironic thing about that is one of the criteria to invoke Section 7, which is an immediate suspension. One of the criteria is if you're violating one of the safety rules.
Somebody's in immediate danger.
But this person's doing the opposite. Well, no, it specifically lists safety in there. Safety issue or whatever that term. And this person's doing the opposite. They're working safely, not unsafe.
Well, that's an uninformed supervisor that was on a power trip.
No, that's what it is. And the whole issue with emergency placement, I don't know what you're seeing out there, but anytime they want to get you or they don't like something you're doing, it's a way of having power over that subordinate employee. I can stop your money from coming in. I can make you sit at home and you're not able to work and you're not able to make money. And I think I don't know, I don't have any hard data, but it seems to be more on the rise, those type of suspensions that are immediate without pay, you know?
Look at what I just sent you. And this is up there in Chicago. I don't know whose office it was, but somebody in a chat group just sent that to me. Just look at the foolishness. Feel free to read it out loud. They just sent that to me probably about 30 minutes ago.
It says 60 minutes in the office has now gone down to 45 minutes of AM office time. Remember, time wasting practices is stealing time from the USPS, and that is a federal offense.
Yeah, that should be an offense.
Be mindful of how much time you are spending in the office during the PM. Set yourself up for success for the next day while being mindful of the clock. Yeah, that whole thing of stealing and it's a federal offense, that is, I can't tell you how offended I am when I see something like that, especially when it's coming from a supervisor who doesn't work all day. I mean, you want to talk about stealing time? You are literally sitting on your ass all day. Even on my worst day, I'm doing 10 times as much as you, and you want to nitpick about, you know, this minute or that minute. Man, that really bothers me. That really bothers me.
You see that's just more micromanaging. So I was talking to because we have a couple of carriers that are in my office with me, instructors, and I just learned this week. Apparently, for certified letters, carriers have a certain amount of time per letter. This is like 3.5 minutes or something, maybe 4 minutes
in the office.
But is that in the office or is it when they're delivering? I don't know. For the signature, waiting for the door or something.
The delivery it takes what it takes. There's no set time, but all of your delivery time counts towards your route. But what we used to get certified mail as an accountable item, you get some now, but most of the part you don't. But that you would get time to write it up, to prepare it, to, you know, you would get a certain amount of minutes in the office. And the Postal Service is really trying to push us outside. I mean, you're not a carrier, right? But think about how silly this is. A letter carrier has a case. A letter carrier has a roof over their head. It's not raining on you. It's not 20 below zero. It's not 110 degrees. It's an environment that you can work in and set your mail up. But the Postal Service wants to push you out on the street as soon as they possibly can, because in their mind, that gets you back faster. But it really doesn't, because all the things we do in the office to set that mail up is one part of our job, and two is going to help us to be more efficient out there on the street. But there's so much pressure, and the certifieds is one thing that helps them to reduce the office time, because they send the certifieds now through the DPS for the most part. And so you just handle it out there on the street. And of course, it takes you longer out there in the street now, because now you got to do all the steps that you would normally do in the office, but now everything is pushed to the street. Of course, we're still getting paid for it, you know, under the street time, but it just one more thing to push us out of the office earlier. And it's really just stupid. You know, why have a post office? Why have a case? Why have a, you know, you have all these facilities that you're paying for and you don't utilize them. And instead we're out there on the street where it could be dangerous, where it could be hot, it could be cold, it could be rainy, it could be snowing, it could be, you know, whatever. And that's not an ideal work environment, as opposed to where you have your case and all that. So that's an issue that is really becoming more and more prevalent. All of the pressure, like that text you just sent me, you know, 45 minutes, get out on the street, in 30 minutes, 50, whatever. Like, you know, if they had their way, it'd be 0 minutes. Punch in and go to the street.
So doesn't that add time to your actual day? So if you got given, let's say they gave you, I don't know the average number. Let's say you had 15 certifieds in 15 different locations. Can that be factored into your route for the day?
Well, you're
And
not
when
you're not qualified to be a supervisor. So, you first of all, you're trying to use your brain. That's not, we don't do that.
oh shit,
And
no, I'm
second
just
of
saying.
all, you're trying to say that there's anything that's going to cause the carrier to take longer.
Delay.
And no, nothing takes us longer.
Mm,
You get stopped by the train. It's 110 degrees out there.
right.
And whatever the circumstance is, you have, two sets of runs. Anything that you have, nothing will take you longer, according to your supervisor. There's not one thing that
So
will
how
cause
is
you
it
to
that they
take you
try to
longer.
say it's average on Tuesdays? We average X amount of time. The mail never. I know for a fact, as a truck driver bringing you guys mail every day, there are lighter days, but nobody can predict exactly what the mail is on a daily basis. So how can they say, well, what's taking you so long? They gave you 15 extra pieces, and it just the minimum of, I just spoke from a minimum 3 minutes a piece. You're looking at, was it 3 times 10?
45.
Yeah, 45 minutes. Like, you're
Right.
going to take some extra time to do that. And if it's far away from the curb, it takes time. The person could be in the shower.
That's what's maddening about the micromanaging, that we just call it the harassment, but the micromanaging, the harassment, the nitpicking, the whatever, is because none of the factors that affect my day, I have to manage all that as a letter carrier. You're not trying to listen to me. You're
Right.
not trying to take none of that in consideration as a supervisor. You're just like, hey, it says here on this piece of paper that you're going to be back by 3 o'clock, and you weren't back by 3 o'clock, and
Mm,
it's maddening. Like, I'm a human being. I'm not a
robot.
machine. I'm not a body. I'm not a whatever. I'm a professional letter carrier, and there's any number of factors that go into my day as a letter carrier, and you're not taking none of those things into consideration.
Well, that brings you back to the whole rush. You hurry up and go nowhere fast. Honestly, that brings you back to the whole seatbelt thing. They say that the most accidents occur within 10 minutes of your home,
Right.
and obviously work as well. And being that you're on the road more frequently than you would be in your regular car, you got to just the risk is not worth the reward. Or the
I just want
reward.
someone to tell me, what is the mentality of a person. And I don't understand it off the clock, but at least off the clock, hey, you do what you want.
That's on your own,
Whatever. You like rolling around the damn vehicle, on your own time. Have at it. But when you're on the clock, they gave you a vehicle, they told you what the rules are. The rules comply with the state law, and they're paying you for it.
Yeah.
So what's the and it saves your life. Like, seatbelts save lives. It's infuriating to me to see a fellow carrier just not
That
care about themselves and not have any
So
respect for
often.
the job that we're doing by not wearing a seatbelt. I don't know.
Even when I give the tests here, we have some heavier set folks that come through. And a lot of people say,
Got to get the extension.
I have an extension. You
Yeah.
can get it right off of Amazon.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. And other people complain about the seatbelts being dirty. So I tell them in the class, I said, listen, order off of Amazon 2 seatbelt covers that
Right.
you would have in your own car. I'd rather my own sweat on me
Right.
than versus 40 years of sweat juice rubbing against my neck every time I go to deliver. And
That might be one of the reasons. I'm really trying to figure out what the reason is, but maybe it's uncomfortable for some people, or it gets your uniform dirty. When it goes across your chest. Maybe those are reasons.
$7 for 2 of them.
Yeah.
Amazon. You know what I mean? And you just take it off. The same thing how people wipe their vehicles down. Well, some people wipe their vehicles down when they do it. You can't go wrong with it. You got the light blue shirt on.
Maybe that's something, Renee's on the Illinois 1 District Joint Safety Committee with, with us in the Postal Service. And maybe that's something that these joint safety committees should be doing, is doing like a survey. Tell us honestly, anonymously, right? Why don't you wear your damn seatbelt?
Or
Tell us so we could try to resolve those issues, right?
The first thing they're going to say is management rushes us.
Well,
that's all I keep hearing. Management rushes them. Yeah. Like,
I don't know. I know for a fact there's carriers that will rush themselves because they want to go home early, and it got nothing to do with management. But I mean, I'm sure there is a lot of cases where management is rushing us,
Right.
don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I wonder if we did that type of survey anonymously, would we get some kind of honest answers?
Feedback. Well, you got postal workers. They're gonna think everything is suspicious. They're gonna think it's coming back to them. No, man, it's a
You right on
barcode on
that. Right on that.
Renee, they trust you. If you present that survey to them and you say it's going to be anonymous, it's not going to be held against you, I think they'll believe you, and I think they will give you the answers that you're looking for there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think if you went to one of the safety meetings, and you put that out there, I think, yeah, they'll be on board for it.
Let me know when the next meeting is. I think I
Mm.
might have to attend.
Mm.
We're going to see if this idea, bears any fruit.
Oh
We're going
boy.
to see.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, so while we have you here, give us some info on what's going on in APWU. You got a new president. Where you guys at with your contract? What can you tell us about the American Postal Workers Union?
Well, he's actually having a live meeting coming up next week. So I got the text message.
Oh, what's that? What's a live meeting?
It's like where they have everybody come in and they send you a link, and we're able to sign up and hear and ask him questions. Basically, we get to submit questions, and whoever their moderator is will pick the top 10 questions, and he'll go through it piece by piece.
The questions got to be submitted ahead of time, or right there during the.
Well, when you get the link through the APWU that tells you, sign up, and whatever your questions are, you sign up, obviously. So the moment you sign up, you just put your questions on, and we'll
Is that something that Demosthenes used to do as well, or is this something new with the new president?
Demosthenes does it as well, or did it as well. He never answered my questions. He wouldn't. But I got Smith's number on speed dial. So
Jonathan Smith, right?
Yes,
Jonathan Smith, yeah.
He checks up on me.
He's out of New York City.
He lives in Jersey, but now he's down in DC. Yeah, he's out of Brooklyn area.
Yeah.
He's
we like people from New York City.
Pretty straightforward guy. When I first heard him, he was a little too militant, I guess the word is.
You had to tell him to calm down.
Loudmouth, me of all people, right? No, I didn't tell him to calm down. That's who he is, and I got to respect that because he won. He was loud, and when I had him on my show, the one thing that he did was he kind of rubbed a couple people the wrong way because he's very political. I'm like, man, you got to separate that. And when you're talking, because you have everybody, everybody has their feelings. We're all entitled to an opinion, but this is your show. But I want to bring up something, elephant in the room, if you don't mind.
Hey, this is what we like. We like a little controversy on this show.
Dun, dun, dun.
Renee, did he tell you he was going to bring this up?
I thought it was gonna be a sidebar, but now that we
I'm sure you
no
can,
sidebars. Let's go.
We can do this. I saw some comments under a couple of your videos, and a lot of people feel as if you were taking shots at ICE. So, me personally, I want to know, were you speaking politics? Because I heard you speaking safety, and people are trying to tie ICE to a political party. And as government agencies, they're not supposed to be tied to a political party. So were you tying it to a political party, or are you speaking about safety? Because I heard you speak about safety.
Well, I would say this. It's definitely not an affiliation with a political party. ICE is they're from the federal government. They're not a representative of any particular political party. Obviously, the one party that is the president, and that is very much a fan of what ICE is doing, I don't agree with that. So you could say I'm on the other side, but it doesn't mean that I'm supporting the other political party. To me, it's not political at all. It's one about us. So there's an issue of ICE doing the staging operations in the postal parking lots. And look, everyone's got a gun these days.
Right.
And it gets real tense out there. And so, yeah, is that a safety issue? Absolutely, it is. Let's not have no shootouts in the damn postal parking lot. But in and then out there in the streets too. It's when they're doing their abductions, as we call them, or detentions, if you guys want to use the
Right.
correct the proper term. It creates a unsafe situation. It creates a situation that we as letter carriers don't want to be involved in. And also, the other thing, the extension of that to me is that we don't want to be affiliated with those operations in the sense that we're the federal government, they're the federal government, they're working it out of our parking lots. So we must be assisting them. And our mandate is to deliver the mail to everybody. We don't care about someone's citizenship status or whatever. You put your name on the mailbox, you get mail. And we're not ratting nobody out. We work in these communities. These are the people that we serve. And so I think all of that is an issue and does fall under the safety thing. But I also think as a union, and here you may disagree, as a union, we should have principles. And one of those principles is an injury to one is an injury to all. And we have a lot of our members that feel terrorized by these ICE agents out here, and they're taking actions. There's no warrants. There's no like legal basis for a lot of the actions that they're taking. And they're not identifying themselves as federal agents. They're wearing a mask. They're not identifying themselves even as a person. There's no due process when someone is being held or abducted or whatever you want to call it. And so in a sense of justice and fairness, in a sense of, what type of country do we want to work in as employees of the United States Postal Service, and we wear that badge, and people want to put the American flag on our uniforms, and we represent the United States. Well, what kind of country do you want to live in? And to me, those tactics that ICE uses is what we would call fascism. And fascism is a state where your rules, your protections, your freedoms are not adhered to. And that's what we're seeing. And I think that for too many people out there, I think that they're a little bit okay with that or too accepting of that as long as it affects somebody else. But I come back to, what is our standard as a union? What is our principles? And it's got nothing to do with a political party, but I think we have to stand for freedom, due process, for, doing things like, and it's funny to me on the issue of deportation. Now, deportation is a political issue, right? What is your political position on deportation? Are you in favor of it or are you against it? I'm not talking about that at all, but people will say, well, you got to look at the Democratic presidents that, they had more. They used to call Obama the deporter in chief. Right. There was so many deportations that happened under the Obama administration. You can go back to a lot of administrations and say, well, they deported more people. Well, exactly. But they were deporting them in a way that wasn't terrorizing the community and violating everyone's civil and human rights. And you know what I mean? So
right.
I don't take a position. I don't think the union should take a political position, but I do think the union should take a position when it comes to what is just, what is fair, and what is good for our members, because not all of our members are what we would say not targeted by ICE. We have plenty of members that are in that demographic.
Correct.
Right? That's like, this is up ICE's wheelhouse there. And I know for a fact when ICE was very active here in Chicago that we had a lot of members that did not want to go anywhere. I got to stay in the house. Yeah. Because I don't want to run into these guys. I don't know what they're going to do. And, that kind of thing. And so if that type of thing is happening to our members and we're members of the AFL-CIO, what's funny about those comments was that all I did was read the statement that the AFL-CIO put out regarding the situation in Minneapolis and ICE and all of that. And so maybe it doesn't affect us directly as much, although obviously it does, but it definitely affects other working people out there in other industries, think like,
Absolutely.
restaurants and roofing and whatever, right? There's a lot of industries that have a heavy immigrant population, and those people are members of the AFL-CIO as well, and we are members of the AFL-CIO, and I still go back to the same thing. An injury to one is an injury to all, so we stand in solidarity. So, hey, man, I understand I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but what I did tell everyone is you're going to know what I stand for. I'm not going to hide, and you're not going to have to beat it out of me or try to figure it out. You're going to know, and if that doesn't work for you, that's why we have an election, and by all means, vote for the person who is aligned with what you want. But if you elect me as the president, I'm going to make sure that we stand with our brothers and sisters in this union and in other unions, and I'm going to make sure we stand for justice. That's the way I feel about it.
Beautifully said. I personally think that the way that they frame it, it's not that you tied it to a political party. I believe that in their mind, they tied it to a political party. And just like you said earlier, Obama was known as the deporter in chief. It just happens that every single president has to go by, they utilize it, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat that's in office. Unfortunately, because of the political climate that we're in right now, when you mention the word ICE and safety, they automatically say, oh, well, Karif, I was going to vote for you, but not anymore. So I would say, well, me personally, if that came at me and I said, well, if I said, listen, there's a heavy law enforcement presence that, is unsafe because of things that are going on right now, they wouldn't blink their eye at that. You know what I mean? Because I said law enforcement presence versus the word ICE. So it's not that they are law enforcement people, but I think that they automatically tied it to a political party. So I don't believe that it's you, honestly, when they hear this, it's them. It's them that automatically think, oh, well, no, this is my people right here. No, it's their government agency. It is what it is. Secondly, I was arrested by ICE back in 2016 or 17. I was at a gas station in uniform at night at 2:00 in the morning, and they rounded everybody up, and I was sitting in the back. I think it was just for a night or something like that. But they said it was a raid or it was some foolishness. And I was like, you guys kidding me, right? They held me up. And, I laughed about it at the time. My uncle's a police officer in New York. I was just waiting for that phone call because he told me, man, be careful. I was like, I ain't worried about it. But yeah, they held me up. It is what it is. I can look back now and laugh 10 years ago, but I was pissed. So yeah, it's real. The situation is real.
Man, they could have dropped you on the other side of the border.
Could have. I don't speak no Spanish. I'm not Latin. I don't know nothing. I be hemmed up. And so I understand and I was reading the comments, man. I wanted to jump in. I think I left one or two comments, but it wasn't for me to pick that argument up. I actually want to do a video in regards to do you pick your next president of your union based off of their political beliefs? Because no matter how much we try, and I don't speak politics on my channel.
And maybe some people do, right? I mean,
right.
And honestly, look, I don't think it's wise. And everyone says, stay away from politics. And I agree because, you represent everybody, all different stripes and different political persuasions and all of that. And we say stay away from that. But that individual person that's voting, they're going to vote based on the criteria that's important to them. Correct. And if that's the most significant thing to them, maybe that's how they cast their ballot. And look, I'm not here to vote I'm not here to force a vote on anybody, if that makes sense. I'm here to let you know what I'm all about and give you an idea of what my vision for the union is and who I am as a person. And if that works for you, then I want you to vote for me. If it doesn't work for you, then I want you to find a candidate that that works for you, right? Like that's how this thing works.
It kind of bases it off of, when you vote for a president, you vote for the person that aligns most with your values, your personal values. So if it just happens to be that I'm running for national president, I'm just going to use me. If I ran for national president, and the person that I voted for or I support doesn't particularly care for unions or doesn't particularly care for, keeping the facilities open that handle EEOC.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
How important are those things to you?
Do you really want me,
or even believe in a public post office?
Right. Because if I'm really aligned with the person that's running the country at the time, and they all of a sudden say, hey, you know what? The post office is not really worth it anymore. Am I going to follow those beliefs and then pass that down or try to translate my beliefs to the members and not fight as hard? Did I lose you there? Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? My personal values follow the person that I align with me. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. So I was real. I don't like doing the politics thing, but again, like I said, that does have some relevance to who you pick for president, regardless of, as much as I like to keep it out. And Smith, he's very political, but he doesn't have that filter. It is what it is.
I want to go back and listen to that interview. He was on a show. How long ago was that? Do you know?
I can send you the video. He's just go through the lives. You'll see him.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out.
Fire, man. He's been on there twice. Yeah, he's interesting. I like him a lot. But the main thing, like I said, is when I heard what you had to say, I didn't hear you say, hey, I can't stand Republican or I can't stand Democrats. Right. That's not what you said.
And I'm not telling you to vote for either. Like this.
It's like, hey, look, man, this is a safety issue. It's not safe for the carriers. I wouldn't suggest you going out there. There's a heavy law enforcement presence, and they're being reckless at the moment. You know what? If you presented it like that, people wouldn't be in their feelings. And it's unfortunate they tie one word to a political party. I just wanted to know from your perspective.
No, I appreciate the question. I got one for you though.
Go for it.
Now that we're here. And I think you and I have talked about, have we talked about this? I don't know. But my question for you, well, actually I got two. The one I know we've talked about is I know when Dimmelstein was the president, he was talking about, and I think he held one of those big meetings or whatever about trying to, was it organize the Amazon? Isn't APWU involved in like an organizing campaign within Amazon workers or something like that?
Something like that. They was trying to get them to.
And you were very negative on it. Oh, and yeah. I was at a branch meeting last night. I'm on the Kick the Tires tour, which is where I go around and talk to different groups of carriers. I was at a post office yesterday, and then I was in Rochester, New York, branch 210, and I was talking about, from my perspective, and maybe it's a little different for the APWU, but for me, delivery is being, our role as the central delivery mechanism for America is being challenged by Amazon. They're building their own network there that we can do delivery. And how are they going to do delivery? They're going to do delivery with a workforce that has no background check, that has no whatever, and it's going to be throwaway employees, totally non-career, whatever. And the service standard and the universal service obligation that we have as the United States Postal Service and the professionalism that we should be, comporting to out there in the street is out the window. And I think that we need to do something, and there's probably a lot of different things we can do, but one of those things we can do, if we would help to organize the Amazon workers into the Amazon delivery drivers specifically for us into a union, I think that would help us long term as far as two things. One, negotiating our contracts, because it's supposed to be paying benefits comparable to those in the private sector. And then also, if you look at Amazon trying to build its network, don't let them do it as cheap as possible. Make them pay people a living wage. Make them give their employees benefits, and then maybe they won't be so quick to build their network on the cheap or let them get away with it. So anyway, I was talking about this, and one of the people in the meeting stands up and says, hey, we got to look out for our people first and foremost and worry about them Amazon drivers, later kind of thing, or next. And I think that's kind of what you were saying, but I'll let you, say what your point of view on it was.
I don't have all the answers to anything.
Well, none of us
I hear what you're saying. It can help our network grow. I hear that. I look at things from a cautious standpoint, I guess, because I've always saw Diamondstein with us over here. We APWU represented 10 roads, which
Oh,
is
the trucking company?
yeah.
Are they like
Wow.
a contract
The-
highway
yeah, the
contractor or something?
contractors, yeah. And I was like, oh, this is some bullshit. They're taking our work away.
Right.
You know, I
The
was
direct competition.
hot about it, and a lot of people didn't know that. I'm like,
Hmm.
the direct competition. They haul our mail, you know, already longer distances than we do, but we could do that work. We have the vehicles to do it.
They
Why would
just
I throw
voided
that
a lot
away?
of those contracts in Illinois. I don't know about, is that
All
around
over
the country? Yeah,
all
okay.
around the country. So I'm looking at it like, man, I don't think it's right. And Smith said, no, it's okay. And I said, man, I don't feel comfortable about it. Again, maybe I don't see the bigger picture. I always look at the union to represent us first, my opinion. Now with Amazon, I did a video, I think it was yesterday. You heard about the video I did yesterday with
No.
an Amazon driver?
You guys see it, Renee, Sarah? I didn't see it.
I just found out the Amazon driver shot the other driver. Did you hear that? Shot him in his face.
You mean the thing up in Seattle?
Yeah, I just
Oh,
heard
that was like 6 months ago.
October.
Yeah. We had one of our episodes. We talked about that. It was a crazy situation. The Amazon driver wanted to get into the building where the carrier had access, and that's the other thing. We have access to all these buildings and these places because we're the United States Postal Service.
Right.
But the Amazon's like, hey, I got to make my deliveries too. And I guess the letter carrier was like, well, you wait your turn or you whatever, you got to stand out there. And the guy went to his trunk and got out his weapon and came back and shot the dude in the face.
They said that the carrier was correct from what I'm hearing, because somebody at the station reached out to me, said that while the mailboxes were open in the mailroom, he didn't want anybody in there. And
Right.
they won't even let me in to go into the mailroom in uniform. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go grab my mail. And the guy's like, oh, you can't come in here. I'm kidding me? I brought you that mail this morning. Let me get my mail. What are we talking about here? But they're serious about that. So I get it. But anyway, I say all of that because the standards that they have for the Amazon people, I hear that they have 150% turnover rate with the people that they hire. If you look at any of their TikTok videos, you see that they're in the back of their vehicles smoking, and they're
Doing
just
whatever.
kind of cool. Their standards are just ridiculously low. And I think
Exactly.
we already have such a bad image. Just bringing more of that in, unless revamping the hiring system, would just make us look bad. Now, utilizing their network, I get it. Us expanding, or having the access to expand for the carriers. Yeah, you might be able to somehow manipulate that system so that y'all are able to negotiate more for your contracts. Possibly. But again, I don't have those answers. Me, I'm an immediate thinker. I think, oh man, that's not going to be good for the carriers. That's just my thoughts, you know.
What do you guys think, Renee or Sarah, about, because the way I presented it, and it's in my platform, a little piece about it. We have a certain amount of money, millions of dollars, in reserve. APWU, I would assume, probably has the same thing. I don't know. But I said, why don't we take an investment of $1 million a year, which would be a small percent of our budget and a small percent of what we have, saved up, and try to do an organizing drive with Amazon drivers in a particular geographic area and really focus on that and bring our people into the fold, because we're really good at organizing the letter carriers that come into the Postal Service. This is open shop. And letter carriers are organized way over 90%. We do better than even the other unions within the Postal Service, but definitely like most federal workers that are open shops is like 50% membership in the union, and we're well over 90% in all areas of the country. And so we know how to organize, we know how to bring people into the union. And if we made a little investment and kind of did almost like an experiment to see how it would work, how would it play out? I'd like to see, would that change the dynamic? How would Amazon respond to that if we could, unionize, and what would that, what would be the result of that? I just don't like the idea of sitting back and watching a private company build this huge network that does our damn job. You know, like that's
Mhm.
our job. We
That's the only thing.
we
the only-
deliver for America. That's our job.
right, and
And
they just invested in logistics as well.
yeah,
The transportation LTL pickup. I think that was last week. I saw that. So
that's your job.
yeah.
What do you guys think, Renee or Sarah? You guys got an opinion on that?
I don't really give much thought to them organizing like with us. I love the idea of every company organizing and being unionized, but I don't know much about how you start it from the outside.
I don't know much either, but I did go to Alabama. The union actually sent me to Bessemer, Alabama, when they were doing that organizing drive with the Amazon warehouse workers. It was before the, no, it was during the pandemic. Yeah, it was definitely during the pandemic. So maybe like 2020 or something like that. Anyway, I went there, and so I got a glimpse of kind of how it goes. And I don't know. I could be wrong. I think we would do things differently. You know, letter carriers are unique. Everyone's kind of unique, but we have our own way of doing stuff. And I think we could relate to those Amazon drivers. And you know, it's if you don't have a union, you know, you don't have rights. You know, there was like there was people we were knocking on their doors, and we were trying to organize them into a union out there in Alabama. And they said, "Well, I don't work for the company anymore." I said, "Well, what happened? We just got this list like, you know, a month ago or whatever." And when Amazon wants to fire you, they just deactivate your badge.
Yeah.
Hey, how do I know I don't work here no more? Because I
That's
tried
it.
to show up for work and I couldn't. You know, I couldn't get in the place.
That's
And
wild.
that's what happens when you don't have a union. You know, so I don't know. I don't know if it would be successful. I don't know if it's something. I'm certainly not proposing we put a huge effort into it, but I think we should try to do something there. There's some other things you can do. There's some legislative things. There's some little maneuvering, you know, you can do as well. So
I don't know.
anyway.
If you get Bezos involved in it, man, ooh, that's gonna be deep. Bezos got that money. So you know what?
Hey.
Let me just take over this, and then we private.
Well, that's to me, that's the direction it's going in.
Everybody feels that way. The
I
only
feel like that's the direction it's going in, and just doing nothing. How does that solve the problem, or you know, how does that stop the train from moving?
Mm.
I don't
Well,
know.
that's what we got the unions here for, to defend us in that.
That's right, baby. So I would have one more thing for you, and that is you've been very vocal about a lot of the employees, which are mostly probably carriers, doing TikToks and doing different things while on the clock and in uniform. And you sound like an old man, you know, when you get on your rants about it, you know. But
Guys,
I
it's
just want to
crazy.
give you an opportunity to tell us what your perspective is on this thing that's out there.
So they can call me an old man. My daughter is 30. That's fine. My daughter's not TikToking. You know, my daughter's beautiful. My son is not TikToking. He's 33. My sister, she's in her 30s as well. They're not TikToking. They're not seeking validation because you have a job. I see it as what it is. There was a time when people came in here and they respected the blue bird. That was it. There's no respect for the blue bird anymore. And you cannot expect the people sitting up in management, the people that you have to go sit next to and negotiate with, to say, yeah, you know, you guys deserve more. I know that this girl is over here dancing and shaking her on the back of the truck, but yeah, you guys deserve more. No, what they're seeing is women do splits and guys taking off their shirt, flexing muscles. And, you know, when y'all got the little back pay for, you know, from 3-4 years ago, 3 years of no contract,
Back
they
in the
were
summer.
nasty dancer for money. There was a girl standing on a APC, you know, with the shelves, just dancing. I said, you're making yourselves look like idiots, number one, and you're bringing a bad public perception to. We were a standard at one time. We were at one time.
You say respect the uniform.
Respect the eagle, the blue bird. Respect that. That's all I care about. You want a nasty dance on your own time? Go for it. I'll be watching videos all day. I don't have TikTok, but I'll watch them all day. But why disrespect the bird? What do they get from it? Because they're going to say, oh, you were doing this on the clock. Well, you can't determine. Now they gave your shop stewards more work to do. Were they on the clock? Were they not on the clock? Were they being safe? Were they not being safe? You know what you know, there was that girl that was shaking her stuff, right? She was standing on the back of the FFV. She had her hands on the roof and she was standing on the bumper and she was just shaking. You know what the shop steward, they said that was AI generated. That was the excuse. They said, you gotta be kidding me. They call me. People call me. They call me all the time. They write me, hey man, let me call
That's
you.
a smart shop steward.
Like, are you kidding me?
They came up with a good one on that one.
That's crazy.
That was
So
AI. That wasn't them.
There was a famous comedian that does he does these little skits on YouTube and Instagram and everything. So he made a skit about waiting on the mail lady, and he looks down at his watch and then he looks over and then he has her dancing on the thing and he's like, oh, come on. So now it's not just the 50,000 views. This guy has almost 2.5 million viewers.
It's the reputation of the letter carrier.
Yeah, this is what they see nowadays. Right. Okay, there's a pretty girl here. There's a pretty girl. Be pretty off the clock. Be pretty off the clock. You too busy staring at the phone.
I do 100% agree that we got to bring the professionalism back to the job. And it really doesn't help at all that there's no, like they used to give us the 473 battery test to get the job, that's out the window. The uniform procedures are just, they only give us what, $536, or is that the old amount or the new amount? Whatever. I think it's still $536. Anyway, I should know this. Whatever it is not enough to really be professional in uniform. So I mean, those are kind of excuses, but what I'm saying is the professionalism is gone on in all aspects, right? Like the employer, the United States Postal Service themselves doesn't value a professional product. And then you have people coming into the post office doing the job that don't value the professional work that we're doing and the service that we're providing in the communities. And neither of those things are going to help us long term. I don't fault an individual person because sometimes they're going along with the flow, or sometimes, and that's the other thing. What is the postal policy on doing a TikTok while on the clock? I haven't really seen anything clear. I saw something they put out about, when you're identifying yourself, like if I have a channel, if I have a whatever, right? You have to clearly identify that I'm not representing the Postal Service when I'm doing this.
Yeah, you can thank me for that one because I had to sit with the OIG for that. Somebody
and the Postal Service seems to be, they seem to be serious about that, right? Like they kind of put some effort into enforcing that. But as far as like last time when I was delivering my route, I was doing these videos on my 10-minute break. I ain't see nothing wrong with it. It's my 10-minute break. I'm doing a video. I'm not doing anything derogatory or anything like that. So, as far as I know, I'm good. Like that's kosher. But I haven't really seen as far as a policy that says you can do this, but you can't do that kind of thing and set some type of standard. And you look at some of these videos, you're like, man, they're going to get in trouble. But how does someone get in trouble if no one's told them what the rules were?
Well, they know they putting those things up around the country. But then they're saying, hey, I was doing it on my own time, my 30-minute break. And they're like, well, you posted 35 videos today.
Hey, don't connect your phone to the vehicle.
Like you're doing it right to upload.
Yeah.
They'll know exactly what you're doing.
Hey, I'm all for enjoy yourself at work. People know me at the job.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little clown at work, but there's a time and there's a place for everything. And it just seems like the quality of people that we have coming in, like I'm the step before.
They don't know where the time and the place is. What you're saying?
Yeah, they come in and it's just it's bad. Again, I got nothing against TikTok videos, period. It's just the time and the place. If we want more money, how do you demand more money when we look like clowns? We don't look perfect. Do you see a ton of videos that are posted from UPS? No.
You do not. Well, I don't. Maybe they don't come across your feed or your algorithm
Oh,
or whatever. But I don't.
and
I don't
I
see
got
that.
people digging for everything,
see.
brother.
Yeah.
I dig for everything. You'll see FedEx once in a blue moon. But our people, it looks like perception says, damn, they got too much time. They got too much time. I don't you go on YouTube or TikTok and look up and see if you can readily find 15 UPS people
drivers,
around
right?
dancing like that. You don't. It is very difficult to come by. But us, the
We got
federal
hundreds.
workers,
We got hundreds out there.
yeah. So it's like, do we respect the eagle? You know, and then I don't know.
You're making me think about this a little bit differently. I'm glad we had this talk.
Like right
Is he
now,
winning you over, Sarah?
I agree with him. I mean, I see people all the time on lives, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're in uniform. Like, why? How do you have this much time?
Right.
That's the one. I sent you a clip to your phone. You can see a UPS guy. See what happens when they don't wear a seatbelt. It's a very short clip. They forwarded it to me just a few minutes ago as well.
That's Instagram.
Is that Instagram? Oh,
yeah. I got to go to the IG. I think I have that.
I don't have it. It just pops up and then it'll play. But the person doesn't have a seatbelt on.
It's not playing. Okay. I have to look at that one later. It's not playing.
Oh yeah, so. Right out the door. You'll see it. But again, like, you know, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. That's not my thing. I just believe that when you go to negotiate and say, hey, we deserve UPS rates. How?
Right.
You know what I mean? How? For the hard workers that actually work hard.
Okay, now I do believe in, you know, this is one of my, you know, campaign things. You look at comparability and you say, well, a UPS driver and a letter carrier, we're both driving vehicles, we're both wearing uniforms, we're both out there in the streets, but the level of responsibility, they're not getting stuck up like we are. They're not on their feet all day like we are. They're not dealing with the elements and the dogs and the, you know, they're not dealing with all of the dangers and the things like we are. I don't think they were deemed essential during the pandemic like we are. And so if they're making this, why are we making less than that? And, you know, to your point, anything that diminishes our value is in the end not good for us as a craft and as a union and as a letter carrier. So I can see that point.
I sit there and you put it out there in the beginning that, you know, I try to speak on behalf, not on behalf. Let me clear that up. I speak up for carriers because obviously I want to see my daughter thrive. I want to see my sister thrive. I didn't like from get-go how she was treated. I didn't like so many things that bothered me that I could not control. So I speak about it, right? And then I hear a lot of people dealing with it. But when you sit there and you try to battle it, and you try to battle it, and you try to battle it, and then you have something pushing back against you, and the pushback is the negative stereotype that you see now. You go on TikTok and you put on postal dancer or Instagram and put on postal it's just going to pop up.
Yeah, there's
hundreds of them.
Yep.
And we just have a bad stereotype at this point. Y'all went through almost 3 years with no contract. Will management, those people that sit up top that have those teams that watch our social media, are they gonna be like, yeah, they deserve more? No, it's counterproductive to what you all are trying to achieve. You said it. You're supposed to have comparable rates. Yeah. Because the moment you get a big raise, we get a big raise as truck drivers. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in the post office wants the carriers to get a big raise because it helps out everybody. We know.
But how do you compare that when you have such negativity? You know what I mean? It's like you can't win. And they don't understand that. It's like, hey, I'm not trying to rain on your parade, but you got to tighten up.
Well, and that's the other thing. Does that person look at this job as a career? Do they look at it as, you know, hey, how is what I'm doing today going to affect me and everybody else 10, 20, 30 years down the road? the problem with the way they're doing the hiring now, and the problem with the way that they're bringing people in and the low pay at the beginning and stuff like that is you're not bringing people in with that career mindset that are having those long-term thoughts about everything. So I think that's part of the problem too.
Is such a
We need a better contract. We'll come back to that.
Mm.
That's going to help. That's going to help the situation.
Yeah.
What else you got over there, good sir?
I was a little aggy, and I spoke to Jonathan Smith about that with the truck drivers. I said, listen, the only people in our contract underneath the APWU that came out with something, and don't take it the wrong way, I said, are non-skilled workers. He said, what does that mean? I said, well, truck drivers came in here with a skill. Maintenance mechanics came in with a skill. So nobody in maintenance got any substantial raise. Nothing. No truck driver. We didn't get bumped up. Nothing. The clerks did.
And I would put carriers, maybe not. I would put carriers in that classification. There's a lot that goes into being a letter carrier. It's much more of a skill job than being a clerk, in my opinion.
Right.
And,
but,
like
I'm
you
talking
said,
about
the
APWU.
No, I know.
How you fighting those guys win and we got nothing. Nothing. Not a thing. What'd we gain? And he was like, well, I said, man, we losing routes. Management cracking down more on us. We got micromanaging 101. Our vehicles won't go in a drive if you don't have a seatbelt on.
But that's good.
Your NGDVs won't go in a drive now either. You ain't been in one yet. They don't go in a drive either.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's like a safety feature. Okay.
Yeah. Can't turn the knob. There's a lot of safety features in that thing.
Man, I hate to say this, but they're going to find the end around.
They're going to plug it. They're going to get that extra plug.
I don't know why people, you go through the extra effort to put yourself in danger and take less time when you're paid by the click. What is the logic of that? I just don't get it, man.
Bro,
don't get it at all.
When you get in your first one, if you see one, wherever you visit the country, get in one and close the door and open the door. That's all you got to do. I'm pretty strong. You're going to have a lot of carriers talking about they threw their shoulder out. Those doors are heavy. I mean, you got to try to swing that. It's heavy. I promise you.
Yeah, check that out. We had one at our last convention. There was one they have like these displays and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There was one out there. I remember walking around in it, but I don't know if I tried the door.
I don't think they let us open
or
close the door. But Rockford has a whole bunch of them, I believe. So I'm sure you could take a ride out there and see.
When I'm out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Close the door, open it, and the passenger side window doesn't open.
Oh.
Doesn't at all.
Ever.
Nope. I have on my other channel, I have familiarization with the vehicle. I'll send that to you so you can see what the inside of it is. But door is heavy. Heavy. And it's just a big piece of aluminum. It's trash. And another thing they utilized in it is that they have so many sensors around the bumper on the front and back. If I stand behind the vehicle, like got it nosed in, I stand behind it and you start backing up, it's going to go beep, 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 beep. And if you're just kind of coasting backwards, it automatically engages the brakes. So you can't hit me.
Right.
Now, after that, if you continue to accelerate and you hit me, that's because you purposely hit me. They're going to try to use that. They're going to try to use that against the carriers.
Well, I mean, that's a modern safety vehicle. I mean, that's what vehicles do now. They stop for you. They, whatever.
Yeah.
It makes the moment. Yeah, it's bad. I was like, what? I threw a comb behind the vehicle because when I got familiarized with it, I said, no, there's no way. He said, yeah, try to hit it. So I'm backing up and the vehicle it jerks you back. He said, now accelerate. So then I accelerated and it actually ran it over. And again, that's just one of those things that if you hit something going in reverse, you purposely hit it.
Right.
Because of the sensors.
Right.
All the bumpers are sensors.
So with the different vehicles that are out there, when you're doing driver's training, familiarization with new carriers, how do you fit that into the time frame, or how does that work? Because it seemed like you would need a whole class on LLV, a whole class on the next generation delivery vehicle, the ProMaster, the Metris. Like,
Mhm.
how do you fit all that into the same time frame, or do they give you extra time to go over all the different vehicles?
So we have the 804, the
EL
EL.
804. Yeah.
Yeah. So every single thing that we have has a specific time frame, and I'm using that exact time frame. I don't cut corners. So it's
So you
0.75
they give
hours.
you more time.
Absolutely. 0.75 hours for
That's good.
familiarization of the LLV. Then we do the course, which is hands-on training, is 3.5 hours. Then the street drive is 0.75 hours to 1.5 hours. So we are able to do the LLV in one day, as well as the FFV, which is only a familiarization, and then a Metris as well, which is only a familiarization.
Right.
So now at the end of the regular day, they are qualified to drive right-hand drive vehicles in just those. The ProMaster by itself is a 3.5 hour course.
Is it really?
Safety. Yeah, it's considered a large skills course for those. And then with the NGDV, that's a 4 hour thing. The familiarization on that is like, it's about 30 minutes by itself because there's so many intricate details. I've done probably for the last 4 months, and I'm still finding out new things on that vehicle. It's just really very. It's going to take a while before I perfect that one. But all of them, they have specific set times for them. If that's the answer to your question.
Got you.
So if I got a person, and not every station has certain vehicles.
Right.
So
Right.
I know that a station doesn't have ProMasters, then I don't need to have them come back
gotta
to
go
do a
through that one.
ProMaster trainer. Right. We just get them familiarized with the basics, the right-hand drive.
Yeah, I got
And
you.
we have a ton of the e-transit vans that are going to be dispersed in June.
How you like that vehicle?
I haven't seen it yet.
We have some. We
You have some up there? Oh,
in
okay.
Illinois, we have some.
Yeah, isn't it just like a regular van, right?
It's like a ProMaster to me.
Totally
Yeah.
defeats the purpose. What's the purpose?
It's just electric, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I think Hanover, Bartlett Streamwood, they have it.
It's an electric vehicle. To me, it's the electric version of the ProMaster.
ProMaster. Yeah. It's about the same size too.
It looks very similar.
What just assuming you see an NGDV, you see a ProMaster, you see the Metris, and now you got the e-transit. They're aiming towards package delivery.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what they're aiming for. And
We know that.
and that's not on the right hand side. So yeah. Doesn't sound too promising. I think my son fell asleep. I texted the boy to come out here. I think he's asleep. Fell asleep on me. I don't know.
Come on the show.
No, I'm supposed to put
We
him to
lost
sleep.
Renee. I think she's been texting. She had something going on and she was in and out of service and stuff like that. So we had her for a minute there at the beginning. Sarah, you have anything else for Mr. JH over there?
Mm,
I'm waiting for one, Sarah. Come on. Give me one.
I don't know.
This might be your last chance. We don't know. We don't know. The next time we'll
never
be able to
that.
get him on. I mean, you never know.
I don't know. Like, what do you want me to ask him?
Hey, I don't think Sarah watches your show, man. I
That's
think.
okay.
I
A lot of carriers don't.
think.
Mike, you keep me very busy.
That's true. That's true.
I did notice that a lot of the you've been with the Postal Service at least 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's it. A lot of the people that have been there for a longer period of time, they either been there for the ones that are there for 20 plus years will watch, and the ones that are 10 years or less that'll watch. The ones that are usually coasting in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
they have no idea who I am. They don't. Yeah, they're in coast mode right now. They're trying to get to the promised land.
I mean, I still got 20 years until retirement. I got a long ways to go.
At least, unfortunately, because we don't know how that's
At
going to turn
least,
out.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's my minimum retirement age too. So
I don't plan to be here that long. Ooh, I don't plan to be here that long. No. I'm not the beginning or end all. I know that I went through a lot to try to get this so that we're able to talk, and same we're talking across the country to make it so that they understand that people have this right. You know, we're not representing the post office, but we're talking about real life things that occur at the post office. I had somebody in Minnesota didn't like what I had to say on my show. They called the OIG up there. OIG reached out to people in South Florida. I don't even know how they found me. And they were walking around the building, I swear to you, with a picture, screenshot of me in the phone, asking people who I was.
Where's this guy?
And the guy called me. He was like, yo, man, I think they're looking for you. I was like, oh, they ain't walking me out. They're not walking me out. I went back to the building. I was banging on the doors. You guys looking for me? Take me out now. Don't not embarrass me. But yeah, I had to sit in front of inspectors and OIG for like 3 hours and explain to them what it was I did. They were like, as long as you're not saying that you represent us, you're not doing it on the clock. I was like, no, on the clock, get out of here. I deleted every video I did in the truck. I was like, no, they didn't get me. I had videos where I would sit my phone on the dashboard of the tractor trailer. So you see my hands on the steering wheel, but I was talking what it was like driving. You know, we started at midnight going to station to station. So, and I'm just talking and telling people about the job, et cetera, et cetera.
You're doing like a day in the life or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just information sharing. And I don't know, people didn't like that or whatever.
You took that one down, huh?
Oh, a lot of them. That's how I started. I was like, yeah, no. I just started going on rants. Yeah, and these people getting on my daughter and swaddling her money, and oh man. And then people started identifying with it. When somebody identifies with you, then they like, oh, you know what? This person's talking about something that I can relate to. And I was like, listen, let me be clear. I'm not a carrier. I got people that are carriers. So they ask certain questions. And first thing I do is I'll call, hey, did you have to deal with it? I've asked you questions as well. You had to deal with this, and what do you do here? And that's how the thing grew. People see me every day. The new carriers that come in and like, hey man, you're that guy. I'm like, no, I'm not that guy. I'm just a guy. Yeah. You're JH. I show him my badge. I said, no, I'm
there's no J in here.
Not one J in here. Are you sure you look like him? No. And at the end of the day, they're like, you sound like that guy. And they going through their phone and looking. No. But yeah, it gets me nervous when they do that. Because then you got people watching.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've had like at least 25 people like friend request me on Facebook, and I'm like, I don't know who you are. At this point, like I'm just gonna accept everybody and then make everything else private.
Yeah, it's I had my plant manager try to fire me. I just went through so much. But this whole thing where people have these open conversations is what it's all about. And for clarity, I'm gonna be going in a couple minutes, but for anybody that listened to the end of this, I just, I personally, I get along with you, Corey, and the other guy with the same last name as mine. I don't know where he's at, but when people start making these choices for who they choose to be president, they have to think about, take politics out of it. They got to really take politics out of it. You got to look and see if the person that's talking to you aligns with what your values are. If what matters to you most, that person reaches and touches, and that's who you go with. You don't worry about if this person likes vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream. I'm lactose intolerant. I can't eat any.
No ice cream.
No ice cream, and because you guys have actually a union that actually engages compared to mine, you're gonna have a lot of up and downs. So hopefully the people are, I was all for Mike until he said, put that aside. Did his values align with yours? Forget the politics. And if the other guy's values align with yours, then go over that way. But don't allow politics to dictate your future.
Yeah, well said, brother. Well said. On that note, I'm good. You got anything else, Sarah?
Thanks for coming.
I'd love to have you, Sarah, on the show by yourself.
Yeah.
You talk too much. No.
I do talk a lot. Okay, so I'm an introvert. which you probably wouldn't
We couldn't
know
tell.
just by this, but also this is Mike's show. I'm just here.
It's all good. It's all good. A lot of people don't realize I'm pretty quiet. When people see me, they're like, "Ah, guys, something's going on." I'm like, "No, I really don't like people too much." But yeah. So I'm hoping that that whole little ICE comment, man, that was so petty. I understand where it was going. I think that people just jumped the gun too fast, and I'm glad that you cleared that up for those that didn't understand.
Like I say, I appreciate the question and the opportunity to talk about it so that we can all be on the same page and see where it goes.
There it is.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. This meant a lot. When